You wouldn't build a house without a foundation, so don't build your business without one. This is Mindset Monday, where we lay out the tools, frameworks, and mindset you need to scale your contracting or trading business today. Well, here we are. Welcome back to Mindset Monday. Let me see if I can get this camera working. There we go. All right. Put my face in the frame, as they say. It's funny, like I'm not a camera expert. I have no problems talking, but as far as a camera expert, not so much, which is why I pay the experts. Well, you guys know the drill. If you're here live, go ahead and drop your name and your business name into the comments so we can give you the good old shout out. I want to share a funny experience that happened yesterday. Well, looking back, maybe funny. At the time, not so funny. We went out to Virginia. So we're in Utah. We went out to Virginia to visit my son and my daughter-in-law, who are both in the Navy. And it was a cross-country flight. There's no directs. So we had to go down either to Atlanta or Dallas, and we chose Dallas. If you've been to either of those airports, you know what the drill. They both suck. They are both massive airports, and they both suck. So we fly in Thursday to Dallas. We have about an hour and change in between flights. Jump on, make it to Norfolk, Virginia. No real problems, right? Nothing delayed, no real problems. And we spend the next few days out there touring, having a good time, just relaxing and just enjoying the company, right? Well, Sunday is our flight back, which was yesterday. Now, if you're paying attention to the news, you know the good old U.S. government shut down. Hopefully they came up with a solution late last night or today, but they were shut down, right? Which meant they were restricting flights. Now, I kept checking, like in my app, checking. Are we delayed? Are we canceled? Are we anything? Nothing. I'm like, great. This is going to work out really nice. We're scheduled to leave there about 3 o'clock, a little before 3 o'clock, and arrive here and back in Salt Lake about 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, this will be great. And get home, decent hour, can prep for the week. Everything will be awesome. We get to the airport, and as soon as we walk through security, I check again. Oh, you guessed it. Delay. I'm like, son of a gun, this flight better not be canceled. So we're sitting there probably about an hour delayed, right? And the airport's filling up, all kinds of people. Plane finally shows up. I will not tell you what airline, just kidding. It was American. And the plane fills up. We jump on and off we go, right? And I'm on my app the entire time looking at our arrival time, 6:45, and our departure time for our next flight, 7 o'clock. Now, for you who have flown regularly, you know that they close the gate, the door, if you will, to the airplane 15 minutes prior. So I'm like, man, I'm going to have like a minute, if I'm lucky, to be able to make it to the gate, right? Well, here I am stressing out over this 2 hour, actually it's 3 hour and 15-minute flight from Norfolk to Dallas. And I'm looking at the clock. We land at 6:30. I'm like, perfect. Yeah, I'm going to have extra time. We should be able to make it. We should be just fine. Well, I started a stop clock, and I don't know why I did, but I started a stop clock, and it took us 19 minutes and 28 seconds to make it from the time we landed to our actual gate. 20 freaking minutes. So we're rolling in, and it is 6:50. Mind you, plane leaves at 7. So I get off the plane. They try to do the announcement like, hey, if you have a tight layover, let these guys through. Half worked, half not really. So I get off the plane and I start hauling butt, right? And luckily we're in the same terminal. So I was like, we got a fighting chance. And I'm running, get to the gate. I'm out of breath. Look at the lady, door's closed. She's like, sorry, we closed the gate 2 minutes ago. I was like, you suck. Myself, my wife, and my son were waiting to get on this plane, and we missed it by 2 minutes. So I'm like, what are my options? She's like, well, if you go to the American help desk counter place, whatever, they can help you out there. And I'm like, where is that? She's like, that way. I'm at C27 or C29. I got to go all the way to C29 to C11. So I'm like, let's go. So I book it, right? And I don't know how far it was. It was a pretty good hike, probably at least half a mile. And I'm running through the airport, dodging people, baggage, dogs, whatever there was. Finally get over there, and there's a line probably like 50 deep. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not the only one. So the lady who's like right at the end of the line, she's like, "Oh, did you miss your flight?" And I was like, "No, your flight was delayed, which is why I missed my flight." And so she's like, "Well, call this number. You can stand in line. You could call this number." I call the number. The guy's like, the help desk guy. He's like, "All right, let me see if we can get you on a flight." He's like, and you can hear the clacking of the computer. And he's like, "Well, the next flight we can get you on is tomorrow at 5:17 p.m." I was like, "How is that going to help me more than 24 hours later? That doesn't help me." So I'm a little frustrated at this point. And my wife points out the fact. She's like, "Hey, where we live in Salt Lake, there's actually another airport, Provo, smaller airport, but I think they have United flights." So I asked the guy on the phone, I'm like, "Hey, do you guys fly into Provo?" And he's like, "Let me check." 30 seconds later, he's like, "Oh, we do have a flight tonight at 8:00 from Dallas to Provo. Let me see if we have any seats." And sure enough, he's got 3 seats left. We're the last 3 on the plane. Now, this was a CRJ 900. For those of you that know, it's a smaller plane. And we were all the way the last seat on the plane, right? So we finally make it, but our baggage doesn't make it. In fact, we're still trying to get our baggage. We finally roll in to the house about midnight, right? Because we had to deal with Uber. That was a different story. Now, why am I telling you about my adventures? Were they funny? Sure. Adventurous? Maybe, depending on who you are. But I'm telling you this because I realized at the time that sometimes I try and find the shortest connection point, the shortest layover, the shortest whatever the thing is, because I don't want to spend time in an airport, right? Staring at a screen, sitting around a bunch of smelly people. Like, I just want to get to where I want to get to. And if there's a direct, I'm taking the direct. I don't care if it's more expensive. But what I realized is because of the way that airplanes and airlines run nowadays, you have to give yourself at least an hour and a half in between because of delays, because you never know, right? So I went from thinking, oh, we're going to make it to my house on time to 4 hours later, and we lucked out, but I don't have baggage. My gym clothes, my gym shoes, like everything, my toiletries is all somewhere in an airport that we got to go figure out where. But it's interesting, right? It's interesting when you think about this from the perspective of running a contracting business, right? Most contractors, and I don't care if you're doing 250 a year, if you're doing 2.5 million or more a year, but most contractors run their business hoping and praying that it's all going to work out. Like literally, that's what it was for me yesterday. I scheduled everything months ago. We get on the plane and all of a sudden things out of my control took over and the plan went out the window, right? And that's how most contractors run their business, is they hope and they pray that the way they're doing things is going to help them get the results that they want. Au contraire, my friends. Au contraire. In other words, that's not the way it works. Now, before we move on, I do want to give a few shout outs to some folks. We got Joseph Yuko with MJ Plumbing. Welcome to the show. Angel Nieves, or I should say Jose Nieves, Nieves Brother Construction, San Francisco. We got Logan out of Central Florida with Jitterbug Home Services. We've got James Gutierrez. Welcome, my friend. We've got Motivated Laborers. Rasheen. Welcome, my friend. We have... Okay, I don't know your name. Calibrain Growth. Hello to you. Oh, here we go. Next message. Lozado Construction or Contracting. Welcome. Motivated Laborers tuning in from Broome County, New York. And then we've got Joe M. Contracting LLC out of North Dakota. Again, if you're joining us live, go ahead and drop your name and your business name. We will give you a shout out. Oh, here we go. Got a couple stragglers. Rodney Butts, R&R Lawn Service. Anthony, welcome, my friend. And then we've got James Smith, post-trauma scene decon. So what does flying in the United States of America have to do with you running your contracting business? Well, I'm glad that you asked, because that's really what we're going to chat about today. The first and most important thing that you need to understand is there are three numbers that will tell you if a job's about to go south, right? Now think about it. Here I am, a passenger in an airplane, and I should have been paying attention to the numbers that were going to tell me whether I was going to miss my flight or not, which, by the way, I don't know why. American, great in the morning. American, later in the afternoon, evening, always delayed. I don't know what it is, right? And I should have been paying attention to that, and I didn't. Again, my responsibility. We got Adrian with Arc Roofing and Construction. Welcome, my friend. So what are the 3 numbers that you need to pay attention to as a contractor, right? Because here's how it normally works, right? You start a job, you're like, man, my markup, my margin's great, 50%. Like we're gonna make out great on this job. Halfway through, you realize you're bleeding cash, right? And you're like, well, what happened? What happened to the money, right? You're like, beginning of the month, full bank account. End of the month, I don't know where it all went, right? And the next month, we think we have it figured out, except we don't. And so it just happens again and again and again. And I could just keep going again and again, right? So what's the first number that we need to start paying attention to? And mind you, again, these numbers are warning signs that are telling you you have a problem, right? You remember the check engine light on your car. If you're like my son, you don't pay attention to it until you end up stranded on the side of the freeway and dad's got to come pick you up, right? But these are the warning lights for your business, okay? Number 1, bear with me as I give you the title, the name, and then I will explain what it means. Got a couple more stragglers. We got Ramiro, planning to legalize handyman and home remodeling. Thank you for joining us. We got Moises, Alpine Construction, literally getting his DBA today. Congratulations, my friend. Excited for you. Now, the first number, actual days versus scheduled days. Actual days versus scheduled days. Now, if a job, and this is just an example, but if a job is scheduled to run 10 days and you're 5 days in and you're not even halfway through, that, my friends, is a red flag. That is telling you you are not going to finish in time. In fact, 9 out of 10 construction projects experience overruns, meaning they go longer than expected. 9 out of 10. By the way, the average overrun is 28%, right? 9 out of 10. What does that tell you? That tells you that there's a high likelihood that your project is going to last longer than you thought it was. It's just the reality of it. Now, for some of you guys, you run the whole project, and that's great. You know, you replace water heaters. Awesome. For some of you guys, you're a sub to a general contractor, which means you expect to start a certain day. It's usually not that day. And now you're dependent on not just the GC, but other trades, and it gets a little convoluted inside of that, right? So whether it's residential or commercial, that's what ends up happening. So if that's the case, what do you need to do? Okay. The first thing you got to do is you have to look at it and say, all right, if I know that this job on average takes 30% longer, I need to allocate for that, right? Meaning you're going to have additional costs, your labor costs, probably material costs, and definitely overhead costs, right? So what do I recommend you do? In order to solve the actual versus the estimated days, right? Actual days versus scheduled days, I recommend that you always anticipate an extra 30% longer than what you think it's going to take. Why? Because then you're going to budget for that, which means higher likelihood of you having money left over at the end. Okay? Budget for that. Super, super important. In other words, if you think it's going to take 2 days, plan for 3. Plan for 3, charge for 3, labor, materials, all your other expenses, right? Make sure that you don't come out behind, that you're giving yourself an opportunity to come out ahead. The second one, budgeted hours versus actual hours. Okay, what does this mean? Well, now we're starting to look at how long it should take, but from a different perspective. Meaning, we're going to start talking about a couple of things we've mentioned here before. The first one is something we call scope creep. Now, I got a guy, he's a client, got a guy, sounds kind of funny. He's a client, he's an electrician. He works up in the fancy part of the mountain, right? It's called Park City. And he's building or working on a $20 million home. Now, this project has been going for 18 months. 18 months. He's been on the project about 12. He should have been on the project 8. So 4 months longer than he anticipated being. Well, what do you think's happening during that job? Well, first of all, he's having to pay more because he's there longer, right? He has not only the homeowner, but the builder asking for additional products and services. Now, when he first started the project, everything was on a just get it done basis. Hey, we're going to need, you want this, this, and this. Well, it's going to be an extra, $5,000, 10 grand, 15 grand. Just get it done, right? What's the problem with just get it done? Well, just get it done means good luck, you remembering it, them remembering it, right? 75% of projects, 75 experience this thing called scope creep, right? What does that mean? That means that 75% of projects, in some way, shape, or form, somebody's adding something to it. It could be an additional valve. It could be a whole new bathroom, right? 75%. So if you aren't doing what you should be doing, which we've talked about here before, if you aren't doing what you should be doing, which is documenting every change order, making sure that you have written permission / confirmation for the change order, which includes the dollar amount, not just the change order, but the dollar amount, you should not be doing the change order. Period. I have a friend who's an excavation contractor, and they were working on a large project, right? And the big GC, and these are one of the big dogs doing, north of 700 million a year. They said, hey, we need you to change this part here. And they're like, well, do you want me to change order? We don't have time. We don't have time for a change order. You need to get it done like ASAP. We're behind the gun. So he gets it done. Well, now he's trying to collect for the money, which is north of $125,000. What do you think the likelihood is that he's getting paid? Right? Now, if he's got a good relationship, maybe. But you and I both know that there's a high likelihood he's not. So instead of getting into that jam and trying to be Mr. Nice Guy who just decides that he's going to do it because of the existing relationship, because, they're good for it, because of whatever excuse you want to come up with, stop doing that and make sure that you get paid. Don't do any work that you have not been either down payment compensated for and/or you have a written change order in place, contract change order. Everything you do, contract change order. You've heard me talk about it before, right? One project we're working in Park City right now, a tenant improvement project, 9 change orders just for framing. Well, why do we have 9 change orders? Because between the inspector, the architect, and the owner of the project, 9 change orders. But we wanted to make sure that we were taken care of, that our guys are taken care of, and that ultimately we weren't going to lose our shorts on this project. Okay? And neither should you on any project. If they're not going to pay you or sign for it ahead of time, what makes you think that they're going to do it afterwards? They're not. And that kind of leads us into number 3, which is change orders. Okay? If you have anyone working for you, you need not only a defined change order process, but all of your guys need to know that change order process. Because for you, it's really easy to say, oh, you want me to do that? Cool. Here, sign this piece of paper. It says, an additional whatever, 20 grand. But your guys, they don't know. They're just there collecting a paycheck. And so if Mrs. Jones asks for, a new kitchen sink and your guys are like, okay, whatever, it's not coming out of my pocket, then they're just going to do it. If your guys ask or your employees on site are asked to do something outside of the scope, they're just nice guys, right? They're going to do it because they want to make sure the customer's happy. Why? Because you tell them, make sure the customer's happy. But ultimately, what is it doing? It's costing you time and it's costing you money. Another contractor here locally, plumbing contractor, working on a custom home. He realizes at the end of the job, when he's doing job costing, that he lost money on what should have been a $247,000 project. Why did he lose money? He lost money because, you guessed it, his guys did change orders and didn't tell him about it. They didn't tell him about it, so he couldn't charge it. Now he's in the hole. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not in business to make money. I'm in business to keep money. So you got to look at it from that perspective. If you're not tracking this stuff, there's a high likelihood money's coming in the front door and right out the back. And that's not why we started our businesses, my friends. We got a late show here by Daniel with Noble Glass. A little late, better me than my wife. Yes, my friend. We got Joe here, Open Kitchen Concepts out of Miami, Florida. Welcome, my friend. Awesome. So listen, as we wrap this up, 2 things. Number 1, okay, understand that your success is your responsibility. 100%. Okay. And the reason we have these calls is we want you to take these tools and start to apply them, right? Now, one of the tools that you should be using is Contractor Plus. Shameless plug. Why? Because I've seen it grow. We use it and we've seen our clients use it as well. And it is absolutely amazing, right? Now, if you didn't know, Contractor Plus just upgraded to version 2. In fact, we got Joe here says, I've got to say, Contractor Plus V2 is so much faster. Had a couple issues last week. Got it worked out. I'm loving this new AI estimates feature. Keep up the good work, guys. That's awesome. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. But I want to bring Justin on because Justin's going to talk a little bit more about version 2 of Contractor Plus and why it is that you should be using it.
What's going on, everyone? So as you know, last week we shipped the major V2 update. We have been working on it for a year and a half or so, give or take. And what we shipped last week is just the first phase of V2. There's a lot more to come. It's already done. We're in testing. So you're going to notice major deployments over the next couple of weeks. We have our Contractor Plus voice system going live. We're adding workflows and automations, things that, you know, a big thing that matters to a lot of people is speed to lead. Everybody knows the faster you get to a lead is the more likely you are to win the job. So we're building in some automations where you can automatically create an opportunity when a new lead hits your CRM. You can, with a default lead value and follow up with that lead. There's just a lot of really cool stuff on the way. When we're done today, I'm going to play a little video that we just had produced that kind of at a high level explains the power of V2. But I want to say, some of y'all that are using Contractor Plus over the last week, you probably experienced some issues and some bugs. I think Joe just mentioned something that some things that he was dealing with. I know a few of the bigger issues. Just to clarify, what happened on the back end. There was a script that ran and kind of deactivated or temporarily deactivated some of the V1 plans improperly. It wasn't supposed to happen. We did get to that one pretty fast. We also have some growing pains around the emails. Let me explain that. In V1, we didn't make you connect your own email address. We let you send from a Contractor Plus email address. Now, that was flawed for many reasons. It was prone to abuse, and every few months, some spammer would come in and start sending, like phishing links using our address, and that would impact deliverability for everyone. So we realized we had to shut that down. So now, in order to send emails to your clients from Contractor Plus, you're going to have to connect your own company email. So we make that pretty easy. If you use a Google hosted email or Outlook hosted email, you can just log in and give Contractor Plus permission to send on your behalf. If you use custom SMTP, there have been a couple issues around that. We shipped an update today that patched a couple of those up. You're going to notice our team is working daily right now. Any issues that are arising from this major deployment are getting resolved pretty quickly. So thanks for sticking it out with us. And you're going to notice a lot of really cool things that are in the pipeline coming soon.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And listen, you guys are going to watch the video here and you're going to see how really cool it is, the features that they have now and how it's working. But listen, just like anything new, there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be, problems. Just reach out to Contractor Plus. They'll make sure that they handle those for you. But if you're not using it, I'm telling you right now, you're going to get left behind. Just the fact. Go ahead.
I want to add a comment. I see James also mentioned he's using the AI estimates. So what we've noticed is if you haven't noticed, there's a little wand at the top right of the prompt box. Even without using that's a prompt enhancer is what that's called. Even without using that to enhance your prompt, sometimes Estimatic will do really good even on a large job. Estimatic is just completely knocking it out of the park on smaller remodeling jobs and install jobs. If there's something that it doesn't have, like if there's, for like HVAC and electrical, certain things that you're not going to be able to get your parts from Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards, sometimes it'll synthesize the price and it'll get it wrong. we're working on that. We're working on adding additional suppliers. We just added ABC Supply for the roofing and exteriors guys. We have QXO in the pipeline now. We're working with those guys over there. So that, combined for roofing and exteriors between ABC and Beacon or QXO now, that's like half of the market share for the material vendors on the roofing side. So we'll be able to cover all your bases there. So we're continually working to adding, more suppliers and getting you your actual pricing. If you work with ABC, you can now connect your ABC supply account and select your ship to account. Right inside the settings, just go to Contractor Plus, down to the settings menu, go to ABC under integrations, and you can get that connected. So that'll be an option for you as well. But what I wanted to say is, on really large jobs, we are noticing some feedback coming in saying that it's getting the pricing somewhat, it's a mixed bag. Sometimes it gets it right and sometimes it gets it wrong. And just so you know, that feedback tool is invaluable, because not only does it come to our team for us to manually review and build helpers to improve the output in the future, but also it goes into a database where Estamatic references to learn from. So when you submit feedback, make sure you're adding your comments. Explain what it got right, explain what it got wrong, and you're going to notice that as you're using this, it's going to be improving all the time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We had a question here. Does this contractor V2 help to estimate specific jobs both ways, material and labor, or labor only?
Yeah, you can tell it in your prompt that you just want a labor only bid, and it should do that for you.
Awesome. Awesome. And then again, just some good feedback here. Go ahead.
One other comment I want to make about this, just so you guys know, the way we've set this up, the pricing is going to look low. Some people, when they're building estimates, y'all are putting your total price that you want your client to see on the actual line item and not utilizing the markup tool. The pricing that Estamatic is going to put on your estimates is the base labor rate and the base material rate. Now, it can add the markup for you as well if you have that enabled, but just know that price that you're seeing on the line item is a base cost. That's essentially what you could expect to pay somebody or pay a sub to do it for you. So you need to be adding your markup on top of that pricing.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to do that. Angel says, I sent Hilda a few bugs I came along with. Other than that, very fast and good update. So again, listen, if you're not fully using Contractor Plus, you're missing out, right? Now, is it perfect? No, nothing is perfect, but you're going to have a higher likelihood of being able to get your estimates out quicker, more accurately, which ultimately will allow you to land more jobs. And as we say, make and keep more money. So with that being said, we're going to say sayonara, say see you next week. But before we do, here's a short video showing you all about Contractor Plus V2.
All right, y'all. See you next week. Meet Contractor Plus V2, the complete OS for contractors, featuring a CRM that doesn't just store leads, but actually helps you run your business. Contacts, properties, jobs, schedules, documents, payments, connected in one streamlined workflow. A central inbox with two-way communication across email, SMS, and voice. Every message auto-organized by contact, property, and job. A built-in phone system that lets you assign numbers to teammates and groups, add your greeting and IVR, capture recordings, transcriptions, and AI summaries automatically. Now you can add optional line items to your estimates. Perfect for offering your clients upsells, add-ons, and good, better, best options. With Estamatic AI, you'll create fully itemized, client-ready estimates in minutes. Pull live labor, material, and permit pricing. Add your photos, blueprints, or measurements, describe the scope, and Estamatic does the heavy lifting. Track every opportunity with a clean Kanban that shows your deal value at every stage, so you can forecast and focus on what closes. With property profiles, every service address gets its own profile, timeline, and schedule. Plus unique email addresses for each property and job to file your outside emails straight into Contractor Plus. We've taken job management to the next level by adding phases, tasks, and subtasks with Gantt charts to help you manage more complex projects. We've also added progressive invoicing directly from the job, This is the most complete operating system ever created for general and trade contractors. Contractor Plus V2, the complete OS for contractors. Let's build.